Hi everybody, Jerry Hostetler along with Jamie Miller from LaGwana Media, and we're joined today by the new basketball coach at Westview High School, Ed Bentley. Welcome, Ed.
Thank you very much. Pleasure to be here.
Congratulations on your selection to be the next basketball coach at Westview.
Thank you. Very excited about it.
We'll start out with just tell us a little bit about yourself from the beginnings all the way through college, and now you're the Westview basketball
Okay.
coach.
I'm originally from Texas, and I had parents that were at Texas A&M as professors, and then they ended up getting jobs in Virginia at Virginia Tech. So we made the move to Virginia and played my middle school and high school sports and school there. Went into the Army right after high school. Served about 3 years in the Army, and then made a decision to get out. And I had some offers out of high school to play, but my dad was pretty smart and told me I need to go, need to grow up a little bit first. And so I enjoyed my time in the Army immensely. I was a Ranger and did different things there, but I knew I wanted to try to play, and went and played at Bridgewater College in Virginia, and then.
And you're talking basketball,
Basketball,
right?
yeah. And then the whole time I'm in Bridgewater, I was in the National Guard as well. I had switched over just to kind of keep my time rolling, and I wanted to go back in. I loved college, and I loved playing and all that. When I was done, I knew my life was back in the military. And so the funny story is I wanted to go back in the Army and go back to Fort Bragg and jump out of planes and do everything we were doing. And I went to the recruiting office, and they said, well, right now, Sergeant, we don't really have your spot open. Well, that was a lesson in life to kind of relax and take a deep breath. And I got a little emotional about that and walked out of the room, grabbed my SRB, and the Marine Corps office was right next door. And I looked in the office, I said, well, let's try that. And went in and gave my SRB and said, if you can give me this, this, and this, I'll go tomorrow. And they said, well, go eat lunch and come back in about an hour. And about an hour later, I had a contract sitting there to join the Marine Corps. So 72 hours later, I was going through another boot camp, because that's the only, I didn't do my research on that very well. But that's the only service where you have to go through their boot camp if you're prior service. So, but everything happened for a reason. I met my wife in the Marine Corps. She's a retired colonel out of the Marine Corps, spent 20 plus years in, and had her 2 kids, and was injured in the Marine Corps, and then she was stationed in Columbus, Ohio at a supply depot. And when we got out, we had a bunch of family, I call them family votes, but I had 2 hands up for Texas, and I think I lost that vote because we're sitting there right now. So she grew up in Defiance, Ohio, so she had a cottage on West Otter Lake for years growing up. So she always wanted to move back, and she had put a longer time than I had in, so it was a no-brainer to try it. So we came here, and I got on at Tri-State under Rob Harmon and coached there for 7 years, and then he decided to resign, and he moved to Fort Wayne, and then Greg Holmes needed an assistant, so I jumped on board with him for a year, and then got the head job in Angola.
Okay, interesting. What about your kids? How old are they?
I've got a 21-year-old who's, I guess now with this whole COVID thing, I guess he's a senior now.
Oh, yeah.
At PFW, so he's in elementary education. And then I've got an 11-year-old that I'm hoping doesn't know the principal's name very much by the time he's a little more spunky and a little more active. So, but we love them. They're great kids. And
so is he more like his dad or his mom?
He's more like me. The older one's like his mom. When he doesn't want to work on his dribbling and all that stuff, he's probably more like his mom. But as far as just, hey mom, you need help or something. But,
right.
So but he's more like me. He gets after a little bit and a little more emotional and in a good way. But he's very social. That's what I worry about.
So you left Angola and the job became open at Westview. Did they contact you, or was that something that you?
No, I went
saw
through,
it open and.
Yeah, I went through the normal protocol for applying for positions. I mean, it opens up and you apply, and hopefully you get a phone call and so forth. I had built a relationship with Rob Yoder, Coach Yoder, over the years, just because we had coached against each other. But I feel like we, again, I think the general theme is here, we're all in this different time right now. And I think the normal feelings you would have with hirings and stuff just kind of goes and flow. And so this was a little bit off, and I think Charlie's decision making was probably a little off because everything that's going on. So that was a variable where I just knew we had to wait and see what happens. A fit's a fit, and if it's not the right fit, then it doesn't do anybody on either side any bit of good. So being patient and so forth paid off.
Well, I think Jamie's probably going to allude to this in his questions, but I believe that you and Rob kind of have the same coaching philosophy as far as discipline especially is concerned.
Yeah.
Yeah, maybe this would be a good time to turn it over to Jamie.
Okay, yeah. Well, I'm kind of a stat geek.
Yeah.
So I was researching some of the statistics from your teams at Angola. And first of all, you have, maybe you didn't even know this, at least back to 1993, your previous 4 seasons before this last season, you had the 4 highest win totals in Angola history.
Yeah, I wasn't aware of that.
At least back to 93. I can't see it past that,
right.
but so congratulations on that. And so what that tells me is you built a foundation. You started your first few years, you took over a team that had only won 6 games the previous 2 years and built something. So consistently your teams are excellent defensively. So what kind of is your philosophy on defense? What do you try to do that makes you so effective?
Well, I think defensively, and again, this was kind of a double-edged sword when I took over at Angola because we, like you had alluded to, they had won 6 games in 2 years, and I wanted to make sure that when we stepped in there, we had something we could hang our hat on, something that the kids could come in and say every day that, oh, man, this is what we do and this is how we do it, and have pride in it. And at the time, like in college, we ran a zone, we ran press, we did a lot of stuff. But I was really worried about at Angola at the time. The kids' level of playing hard might drop if we go to a 2-3 zone, or if we teach switching, and so I wanted to make sure that whatever we were doing on both ends of the court was just preaching, and you had to work hard to do it. Mm-hmm. And so defensively, we honestly, it was more kind of a college scheme, but we do a lot of blitz in the baseline stuff. My first 2 years, and if you see probably the points given in a game, given up, we were a one pass away in your face, denying teams all the time. I mean, that's the way I'd always played. And you know what you coach, and you coach what you know, and we were out on them, but we were giving up straight line drives and just, I mean, and so the second I sat back and said, well, we're not the quickest, we're not the most skilled, but so why are we out, giving up these layups? Like we can't do that and be successful. So we moved to more of a, I don't want to say pack line, but off the ball, you're on the ball, you're hawking them and you're doing everything, but off the ball, you're in the gaps a little bit or a lot. And because I want Charlie Yoder from last year looking in that gap and saying, okay, well, my drive's not, like I got to pass it, or he usually shot it. But my point is that I want perception to play a big role in this. Now, Charlie probably could have driven right through the gap because our gap guys, and Rob did a really good at scouting, is just stunting and going. So really, the guy next to the ball never comes and helps. It's always backside help. So, but most high school players are perception guys. They'll look right and left, and they think their skills can't get them there or whatever, and they just pass. So that's a small battle. So we talked about defensively at every spot, just winning your battle and doing your job and winning your battle. And then when everybody started seeing the points productions, all of a sudden started, the points we give up starts going down a little bit, and then kids love stats. You can get on John Harrell and look at points given up in a game, and next thing you know, we're jumping from the year prior, I think like 14 or 15 in the state, to number 1 in points given. So that kind of just evolved into the defensive stuff. And I'm not naive. Like there's also a part of it that we take great shots. Like Angola took good shots. Like we had to. Our shot selection doesn't look like like other teams. I mean, I kind of joked when kind of some of Coach Johnson's teams at Homestead's got Division I, Division I, Division I, Division II, like all the way around the horn. Well, their shot selection looks a heck of a lot different than everybody else's. I mean, it's just what it is. So, you know, we just wanted to make sure defensively that we were doing things to make the kids work hard. And the funny thing that came out of that, or the great thing that came out of that, was now they had something to hang their hat on and say, yeah, there's no way we're giving up 50 points this game, or you know, and that helped us. So.
Well, to that point, you gave up 50 points a game your first couple of years.
Right.
The last 5 years, it was 39 or less.
Right.
So, I know from experience, coaching against some of even your junior high
Right.
teams, and then being involved kind of with scouting, at least for the high school, you're hard to prepare against,
Right.
to play against, and the offense has to really execute to score.
Right.
So,
And again, I think that's what we want. With anybody. I mean, I can show you scouting reports on Charlie. He's gonna hit shots. I mean, you don't score 2,000 points in a high school career and not hit tough shots. But our job is to make you hit tough shots.
right, make you take tough ones.
so.
So, this unique time period we're in has kind of probably limited summer activities.
Absolutely.
What do you anticipate being able to do any of that with the team? Maybe if they move it back to July. I don't know what you've heard.
Well, the last thing the IHSA put out was July 1st. Was when the gyms could open back up. Now we're all knocking on wood on that. I mean,
yeah.
And I think their statement was if no setbacks.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
So, my wife works. She's a vice president at Parkview, so I kind of hear it from both ends, and I'm just fingers crossed, because in any normal year, I would be taking over here, and or any coach would be taking over a new position, and they get to jump in here in about 2 weeks and play a bunch of games in June, and get to know their kids on and off the court, and start kind of sculpting roles and figuring out what guys can do. So this is going to be unique, and the good thing is it's probably unique for everybody.
Right.
Right.
So I just hope that I know there's a lot of barn gyms out there. I hope guys are getting into those gyms and
Knowing the kids around here,
Right.
they probably
Yeah,
are,
right.
or in
And
their driveway, or
shooting,
exactly.
and I think the good thing is they've seen me in the last couple years. We played in the last 4 or 5 years. We played Westview in some pretty big games and some battles, and it'll be good sitting on the other bench this time at this place, because we've lost the last 2 here on the last second deal. But so I hope what I know about these kids here is that they do work on their game, and they don't need a whole lot of people telling them, hey, you have to go work on their game. They do that from an internal standpoint.
All right.
Not to cut you off, Jamie, but one thing that's really advantageous for you, you've been in the conference, so you know the kids
Right.
pretty much. I mean, yeah, you're going to lose Charlie next year, but there's good nucleus here.
Right.
Yeah. Well, I guess the final question was just how well do you know the talent? How much have you evaluated it? I know you've seen a lot of us.
Right.
I didn't know up close and personal, but.
Well, I watch about every. I don't think my wife likes this very much, but I watch about every game of every team we play. So with nowadays with Huddle, you're able to do that, and I'm up watching. So I've watched a lot of Westview games over the last couple of years, and especially last year. That's one of my things on my checklist, is I'm going to rewatch every game from last year again during this downtime, and get an idea of. I've already made contact with the kids via, I guess, social media or text and stuff like that. So I'm trying to plan a Zoom meeting with them that we can at least sit down and touch base and see what everybody's doing. But I have an idea of what guys can do. Obviously, there will be some guys that now are stepping in who may not be on tape as much last year, that we didn't see as much,
Right.
but they're going to be stepping in. So I have to do my due diligence and learn about those kids as well.
All right. Well.
Yeah. Thanks, Coach.
Yep,
Appreciate
thank you very
it. Good
much.
luck. Hopefully we'll get through this COVID crisis. You
Yeah.
really get these kids out and get to know them. And
Yeah. Well, everybody needs to be safe first, and then
Right.
And we
Right.
basketball's up there on the priorities, but we want to make sure everybody's safe and healthy and so forth. But we're really looking forward to it. I'm Rob was a mentor early on for me in our 2 rebuilding years. I think my second year, people probably don't realize we went on a 9-game losing streak,
Wow.
and you know, my first year we went from 4 wins to 9 wins, and I'm feeling good. But you graduate everybody, so now you're right back kind of in young, and the culture's better, but you're young, and you know that box out you might have underneath that some Westview guys pushed them out to the bathroom, and so
Well,
yeah,
a couple of years ago, we lost 5 in a row, like around Christmas, right? Wasn't it 2 years ago or whatever? So,
we lost 4 in a row because
Ended
they
up-
were to all 4A
right,
high-end
ended up-
schools.
we
but
still ended up in the finals of the region.
Yeah.
right.
Anyway, yeah, it happens. So, well, once again, congratulations.
Thank you very
Coach.
much.
Good luck,
Thank you.
and we'll see you next winter.
Hopefully soon.
Yeah, that's
Yeah,
right.
right.
Okay. Thanks for joining us today to meet Coach Bentley, and we're looking forward to another great Westview Warrior basketball season coming late next fall.